I'm super excited for today's guest. I feel like I went to high school with you. Although I feel that if this whole thing was high school, which is kind of is right, Instagram and this whole influencer thing, wellness, the crust of wellness. I feel like you are a senior, and I'm more like maybe sophomore, freshman, because I remember when I was coming
Am
up. I
I cool?
remember,
But am I cool? Let's just
yes.
establish that.
So, well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this: If this was the Breakfast Club, which character would you be?
Oh, I totally would have been Molly Ringwald.
Would
Yeah.
you? Okay, yeah. So she was the wasn't she the prom
Well,
queen?
wait, I got to think about it. No, no, listen. I would have been like I would have been some hybrid
Mm.
of Molly Ringwald and the nerdy smart kid, the
Oh, I
Michael
thought you were gonna
character.
say Ali
Yeah.
Sheedy, but no, you're talking about the nerdy smart. Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
No,
So,
listen, in high school, it was like I had one foot in the clique and I had
mm,
one foot with the stray dogs. And
yes,
I feel like
I
I
could see
still
that.
kind of work that way. It's like, um, I like the things and I have the language and I love that kind of pop culture scene.
Hmm.
But I really want to sit in the corner of the cafeteria with the fringy guy and ask him like how his father is treating him.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
bridge. You're a bridge. I think you're a connector.
LaPorte.
It's
Mm.
funny. Yeah, it's funny you say that. Um, the popular girl, and then also kind of taking in the strays, if you will. And
Mhm.
it seems like on the internet, yeah, I think you have a diverse audience, right? I think a lot of people gravitate toward you because you are very popular and you're an author. And we're going to get into who you are, what you do, but
Mm.
also I think because of your spiritual energy, you really throw a wide net, and I think a lot of people
Mm.
gravitate toward you. I know when I first discovered you, and I don't know if it was your newsletter, but it was like I think 12 years ago, and then you're kind of peripheral. But I really gravitated toward your like no BS. There's you're very what you put off is very authentic. It's very consistent, like butter, grass fed butter is like
Mm.
you don't have a lot of false moments.
There's not a lot of filler.
There's not a lot of filler, yes, and so
Hmm.
it just you just show up in kind of an honest way, and that was I remember that's kind of what I gravitated toward, and of course, you're a very talented writer. Your words. Okay, who am I talking to? Danielle
Okay.
LaPorte is a member of Oprah's Super Soul 100. I think we could just stop there. Isn't that just kind
No, don't
of?
stop there because I can tell you. I mean, this is
I mean, where do you
like
go from there?
that's cool. It's great on a resume. I have
Hmm.
super respect for Oprah. Want to keep
Yeah,
doing things with Oprah. And those things, everybody's got to realize like a lot of that stuff is political.
sure.
A lot of that stuff is luck. Just like someone knows you and someone calls you and there's a list being built and they call you and maybe they called five other people that day
Hmm.
and you were the one that answered the phone and had the conversation. So keep going.
I mean, listen, just speaking of being honest, just what you just said, instead of bragging about that notch, in your belt,
Yeah.
you pulling the curtain back and saying, hey, this is what it's really like. So thank you for that. It
Mm.
still doesn't take away from that. In Oprah's Winfrey's words,
Mm.
you are uniquely connecting the world together with a spiritual energy that matters. I love the last part, a spiritual energy that matters, because it also kind of implies that there's a spiritual energy in this world. Maybe that
And
doesn't
it
matter,
doesn't matter.
and maybe because it's a little false.
Yeah.
You're also the former director of a future studies think tank in Washington, D.C., where you managed a team of creating global scenarios.
Yeah.
What
So
is that?
I had, so what it was is, so think tank. I mean, think tank is very Washington D.C.
Hmm.
speak, right? Like outside of Washington, people don't really get it. Think tank is you get a bunch of smart people together and you write white papers, these essays that then the media refers to, like what's really going on with geopolitics and in the world. Or
Mm,
you sell, in our case, we'd sell these really expensive research papers to the Pentagon
wow.
talking about weapons of mass destruction water wars or AIDS in Africa. It was super trippy. I had 21 futurists, a poet, a food scientist, um, and we just talked about global trends. And
Man, big
side
things.
note, it's a big thing. And side note, like I never went to college, I never went to
Mm,
university, so that I actually learned to use that to my advantage. So while I'm struggling with big imposter complex, like
mm.
big time,
Yeah, I have
while
some
I'm
of
there,
that.
people were asking me like what my alma mater was, and I didn't even know what that meant. It's
Mm,
like alma mater. That's Latin for something.
yes.
But then I learned to flip it. I was like, I'd go to parties and I'd say, "Oh, I just graduated high school. I never went to college," and that made me different in that
More
scene. So
impressive. More impressive, I think, also, you know.
I used it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have a podcast. The last sentence, and this is my favorite. Danielle
Mm.
now speaks about the intelligence of the heart, and we'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what that means. I love that heart intelligence. She also has a podcast with Love, come with Danielle, and I love how
Mm-hmm.
you sign your newsletters. And this is something that I remember from back, and it never really changed. Is your signature, right?
Mm-mm.
Which I love. And then, of course, she has a ton of books. And I also wanted to today we're going to talk about. Okay, it's a long one. What love really is and the conditions for healing and forgiveness. Um,
Mm.
some of her books, right? How to be loving. This is your. Is this your most recent? Right?
Yep.
Yep.
How to Be Loving, most
When your
recent
heart
book.
is breaking open and the world is waking up. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
The fire starter sessions. The desire map.
Mm-hmm.
White hot truth. That sounds sexy.
Mm-hmm. There's always a little edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so you're also the creator of Heart Centered Membership and the Heart Centered Leadership Program with over 400 plus coaches, facilitators in 30 different countries. You're doing a lot. So thank you for all your work. I wanted to start with pulling one of your cards. So
Oh, I love you.
Danielle invited me to dinner, and I'm going to be honest. I thought I'm also an author, and I thought these kind of cards were, maybe gimmicky. Sometimes they come off as cheesy, but I
Yeah.
took one of these home, and I started going through them, and I'm like, wow, these are amazing. And I
Cool.
started to look forward to pulling one every day. And so they're gorgeous, by the way. And they're not cheesy at all. They're actually, and also I think part of it is because we live in such a digital world to actually feel something like a card
Yeah,
in your hand.
essential.
The analog of this is refreshing. So
Yeah.
these are the first cards. You can find them on her website or wherever you buy her books. Um, that I think they're classy, they're artistic. There's nothing cheesy
So
about
this
these
is
cards.
so this is the How to Be Loving deck. This goes there. So
Hmm.
there's the book, there's the deck, and then there's the journal. And with every card deck, I wanted it to feel like a page, not a quip. Yeah.
Yes,
All right.
yes,
So go. What do
they
we
look
get?
very
What'd you pull?
expensive. The first one I pulled for today is every emotion carries a message. Oh, I love this.
Mm,
Every emotion carries a message. Witness, honor, and learn from your feelings. We want to interpret the signals that our emotions are always sending us. We want to fully feel our feelings without over identifying with them. Feel them and
that's it.
release them. Love them. Don't try to possess them. Do you want to expand on this a little
Mm.
bit?
Yeah, this is a big one to start with. This is the whole problem of human existence. This
Yeah.
is a good start. Yeah. Uh, my revelation over the last few years was me feeling like lit up and purposeful and connected was not about me being in a good mood. And so I really
Mm,
started to look at the origin of feelings. Was I at the mercy of my feelings? What is it? Where do emotions come from? What's the difference between emotions and states of being? And I think I don't, my experience is just, I'm checking off a Buddhist box, which is
mm,
misidentification is the root of all suffering. But I want to refine that and say identifying as your emotions is one of the big, juicy roots of our suffering.
mm.
So you're not sadness. you're experiencing some sadness.
Right.
In fact, John, I got news for you. You're not even angry.
Not anymore. I'm
You were just
experiencing anger.
experiencing some anger.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love that detachment. I love that then what
Yes.
we feel isn't what we are. I think a lot of people, um, I do a lot of work with single people and redefining singlehood, giving singlehood a cape. And a lot of people feel less than because they stamp themselves as lonely or as single and, internalize and measure their worth because they haven't found love or a partner. And I think all of that is dangerous. So starting with, that every emotion
It's
carries a
dangerous.
message and that you are not exactly what you feel, you're experiencing
You
these
are
things,
not
I
your
think is
fiance.
a great
Yes.
reminder. Okay, Danielle, I want to know kind of like how you started, and you can go as far back as you want. I I came across you when you were already in the air, right? And you're soaring now. But before then, how did you? I mean, you mentioned you didn't go to college. How did you become this kind of powerful catalyst?
Thank you. I I was a grind.
Mm. You were a
It's
grind, or
been
was a
it,
grind? It's
I'm
been
a
a grind.
grinder. Um, it's been like it's been suffering and it's been blessing. It's been like giftedness and
Mm-hmm.
it's been striving. It's been a dark night of the soul. It's been a lot of disappointment.
Yeah.
It's been relationships and friendships and love and tenacity. And it's been meditating and workshopping and swimming in a cold ocean. And it's all the things.
Yeah.
That's all the things.
Do you?
It was divorce and it was almost
Mm,
bankruptcy and it
mm-hmm.
was Oprah Super Soul 100 and it
Yeah.
was sexy and it was ugly and it was, by the way, motherhood. The the how to of it was WordPress.
Oh, blogging.
WordPress to
WordPress. Okay.
blogging. I mean,
Yeah.
WordPress for all so many of us in the space, like kind of the
Mm-hmm.
OGs 10 years
Yeah.
ago,
Super OG.
is to like what the Gutenberg press was to like printing
Right. Right.
and language. So
Right.
it's like I
So you started as a blogger, which I also did.
yeah, I started as a
Yeah.
blogger essentially. I mean, I did the whole DC thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was a publicist. That's really where it started. I was a
Mm,
publicist. I was getting people, I had a fax machine. I was getting people gigs
mm-hmm.
on radio and all those things before there like really was an internet. Like one of my original emails was like, I was Danielle at AOL.com.
Mm,
It's,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
um, and so I got in that scene and I didn't know that I was going to like, me promoting all these people, I would end up on the other side of like, someone was going to be my publicist someday.
Mm,
And I left DC because it became really Republican, which was gross at the time.
yeah.
And at least to me. And then I moved back to Canada. I got rejected from art school.
From art school.
And then from art school, I was
Mm-hmm.
going to be a painter. I wanted to be the next Rothko.
Oh,
Or I
interesting.
wanted to be the next Versace meets Donna Karan. I
Mm-hmm.
was going to go into design. And that wasn't it. I thought about going to film school
Mm-hmm.
and I
I did
met
that.
someone who said, you went to film school too?
Yeah.
What were you going to make?
I was a screenwriter. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I
I
was a
knew this
screenwriter.
about you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to make documentaries.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was
And I had
gonna
my
make
like speech
blockbusters. You were gonna
planned.
make documentaries. Um,
Yeah. I was going to
wow.
stand up and say like this dress costs more than the budget of this film. Thank you for the Oscar. Yeah.
I love it. I was gonna do windmills before my Oscar speech and say to everyone, "Only in America," but that never happened. But yeah,
I
that
love
okay.
it.
So interesting. We have so much overlap. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
didn't get into art school. Had a passion for film design. I mean, it's still all right brain creative stuff. At what
Oh,
point
very
did
creative. Yeah.
At what point did you
Yeah.
realize, oh, I could write? At what point did you realize people responded to your words, or has that always been the case?
The writing was always there, always
Hmm.
expressive.
Yeah.
I wanted to win the public speaking award. Did
Mm.
my, grade one. My name is Danielle. I'm going to speak on Eskimos today, which, you could say Eskimos at the time.
Mm.
And, but what happened is when I got back to Vancouver, I never thought I'd come back to Canada because America is where you make the money. America
Hmm.
is where you become number one at
Mm.
things. Canada is where you have an inferiority complex and, the currency sucks.
Yeah.
But it was one of the best moves I made. And I just started hanging out with some fashion, interior design, spiritually focused friends.
Hmm.
And with one of them, we started this process. So, like, I really love methodologies. I love systems. I love formulas. As much as I you know, talk shit about it. I actually love how to steps. Like I'm always saying,
Mm.
like, there's no 7 steps to enlightenment, but I have 7 steps and things I have a system for this.
Right.
And we created something called style statement. And it was, we came up with 2 words and it operated on this formula, this 80/20 principle. And my style statement was sacred dramatic. It was like your roots and your wings and all these. And we ended up doing these we started with like, it was $300 for a session. And then we got, the Globe and Mail did a piece on us and our internet fax machine at the time blew up.
Hmm.
And we started doing these one-on-one sessions for people.
Oh.
And then Oprah called around like 10 years ago then. And then
Before your book?
things,
No, not. This is after you have had a book out, correct?
this is like one of our first books, and which I never talk about because I lost the intellectual rights
Oh.
I lost the copyright in a
Mm.
business divorce,
Oh,
which is now
interesting.
mended and there's lots of forgiveness.
Uh-huh.
And so we started this big business when Oprah called because I was, sharp and I was like, hey, Oprah's called. The phone is going to keep ringing. I'm going to go raise some money now. So I went and raised a bunch of capital for this business. And then I got Steve jobbed from my own business. So I hired a
Mm.
CEO. All the dudes involved, I think it's an important part of the story, they're all male, said, hey, if you hire this Wonder Kid CEO to run your business, we'll give you all this capital
Mm.
and you can be the next big brand. And of course, we said yes. My business partner and I at the time said yes. And then it didn't take long, just within a few months, they constructively dismissed me because we had
Wow.
creative differences
Wait, how
and
can they
they
when it
own
all
the
hangs
brand.
on you? Like if everything hangs on you, how can they dismiss you? You're the leader of the band. Like you actually are the
Yeah,
lead
that's what I
vocal.
thought. That's what I
Mm.
thought. But when they own and when you sign your image and your actual
Oh,
name
right,
over
right.
to an incorporation and your parking spot and your URL, they can do that. Like
Yeah.
I had to surreptitiously go to Instagram and beg for my own Instagram handle back.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It was wild
Yeah.
times. And that was really like the birth of me being solo. That was like, that
Mm.
was not a dark night of the soul because I since know what one is, but that was like seriously challenging. Thought about declaring bankruptcy. So much betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. This became this theme in my life,
Mm.
women, betrayal. And, and there was WordPress. And I
Oh, that
started
was the
writing and
vine. That
just,
was the vine that pulled you out of the quicksand.
yeah, that
Well,
was
yeah,
the vine.
full control. You know, as a blogger, it's
Yeah.
your page, and what goes on that page is all you. While
Yeah.
you were on WordPress, I started on Tumblr, and it was the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Didn't think
Yeah.
many people would read it. It was just kind of documenting my post-divorce, getting up, the daily struggle, and people resonated with that. And I'm sure that kind of happened with you. So the blog took off, I'm assuming, and
Mm-hmm.
then you captured an audience, newsletters, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is before social media. So then,
This is
or
around
around?
social media,
Yeah.
but a key thing there was I had to make money,
Mm-hmm.
and all I knew how to do was help people start online businesses.
Oh, right.
So I hung out my shingle and said, it's going to be, for $300,
Yeah.
I will help you come up with $10,000 ideas.
Mm.
And I did that. And then I would also um, I would go wherever anybody would have me. So I'd say, listen, if you can get 10 people in your living room, probably female entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay my flight, I'll pay my hotel, and I'll charge like $200-300 for an afternoon for everybody. I'd leave with a couple grand in my pocket. I'd go home, breastfeed my kid, book the next city,
Yeah.
and then I had a book. And then I had the fire starter session. So
Mm.
16 cities in a year almost killed me, but I had
Wow.
something. And then I knew I wanted a book deal, but I tried to get an agent, did the whole tour in New York.
Yeah.
Nobody would have me
Yeah.
because I was too poetic. One agent told me, only Oprah's audience would identify with you. And I was like,
Is that not enough?
is that not a good thing?
Right.
Um, And so I created a digital program and
Mm.
launched my first digital thing called the Fire Starter Sessions. And I did it in the middle of a divorce. So I was in my attic learning how to work, what was it, like GarageBand or something. And I was crying and packing boxes to move out.
Mm.
I had a child. If things were kind of amicable, but still divorce is divorce, I would go put tea bags on my eyes and film a video for my online program.
Wow.
And that
This is
became my
probably like
first book.
2000 what? 12, 14?
Probably earlier than then,
Yeah.
like the tens. Yeah,
Wow,
the
that's
early
super
tens.
early. Yeah, that's definitely before Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just went deeper into my journey. And it just was like entrepreneurship was easy to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I was really brazen about things. It was like, Helvetica 900 point font. And then I just went deeper into the heart over time.
What is your, and then you start writing books. What is your writing process? So if you were to, well, let me ask you this. If you were to put one, maybe you don't want to answer this question, but if you were to put one hat on, what would that be? Would you say that you're a writer? Would you say that you're a spiritual leader? What would you say you are? A coach?
I would now say I've never used any of those terms.
Mm,
Um, I've always felt that I'm a seeker who writes about what I find.
okay.
And I'm just splitting spiritual hairs now, but I don't even really want to identify as a seeker because I'm really tired of looking.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I am I am devoted to love. I am here to heal myself, and if I can support you to do the same, I'm going to do that.
So
I
the
think I'm
writing, anything creative you do, cards, courses, workbooks, whatever, that's all just kind of the ripple from this one word, which we're going to get into, which is love, right? And
love.
that has always been, since I found you, that's always been your theme. That's always
That's
been,
my thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
your, and so, um, love is a big word. What does love mean to you? What is love?
Love is I feel like there's two questions in there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like what does love mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
What's my experience of love, and then what do I think it is philosophically, which better be aligned,
Yeah.
or it'd be really bad for my brand. Um, Kidding about the brand part, but my experience of love is really simple that your happiness means as much to me as my happiness.
Mm.
Sometimes your happiness means even more to me, and I'm really okay with that. There's like in love, I feel um, this kind of dissolving of identity.
Mm-hmm.
I feel unbounded. I don't give a fuck about boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I want us both to make progress. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the progress being like the acceptance of what is the progress. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
what's happening now. Just to be with that is like the evolutionary leap. Now, like to put the like philosophical bow on all of this, I think love is a higher state of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
everybody, everybody, everybody. Love is not an emotion. Love is not a feeling. Feelings come and they go. They are clouds in the sky. You are the sky. You are the
Mm-hmm.
vastness. You are the
Mm-hmm.
consciousness aware of the feelings. Now, you can be that state of consciousness. You can embody love. You can experience love. You can be like transmitting love. And that will create some feelings in you
Yeah.
that are happy and joyful and loving and warm and sometimes destructive. And, love is fire too.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So it's not a feeling. It's
Yeah, and I think it's
isness.
such a big word. I don't think I mean, I don't know. I can't put it really in a sentence. Let's do this because I think this would be fun. Let's kind of hit the
Okay.
ball back and forth.
Okay.
So
What do you think love is?
well, I see I think in pictures, right? And I just kind of
Okay.
if I feel it, I kind of say what I see. So one word or a sentence. I go, you go, I go, you go. Love
Okay.
is. I'm going to start with greater than self.
Mm.
Love is. You go.
Us.
Oh shit. That's so good. I don't want to play this game anymore. Um, your story. Your story without the chapters torn out. Go ahead.
You're the true story.
Mm. Forgiveness.
Default of the heart.
Healing.
Inevitable.
Expansion.
Please.
Curiosity.
Essential criteria. Don't even get through the door without it.
Mm. Painful at times.
Fun.
Love is
Yeah.
all of these things. And
Mm, mm,
I think it's a living, breathing thing. I think it is a spirit. I think it is some kind of flow state. I think it's the river that is always running. And I think we kind of like a whale coming up for air, tap into it, dodge it, tap into it, dodge it. So to be in love, to show up loving, yeah, I think it's the greatest superpower that we have as humans for sure.
So then, can I give you my theory on what it means to say I love you?
Yes.
If we're the stuff, so you bring up the ocean, it's such a
Mm-hmm.
powerful metaphor in
Mm-hmm.
terms of love. Um, this goes back to misidentification. You're actually the ocean. We are actually the ocean, but we think we're just a drop. And then, we
Mm.
get more aware. We think, oh, I'm a wave. But you're still seeing yourself as separate, but you're the ocean. Okay, so you are love. You are
Mm-hmm.
made of love, from love, because of love. You're the stuff. So when we say I love you and we really are in that higher vibration,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a game, it's not a pop song. I think really what's going on is we're saying, essentially what we're saying, the subtext is, currently I'm aware that I am love itself and I am gazing upon you. I am love seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
I am love seeing you. So there's lots of acceptance there. So that means when you just even contemplate that, then you can entertain the notion that love is an as is proposition.
Mm.
Really, this is, to just the fine point is like, love is all inclusive. Love is inclusive. I got to love all my parts that I've been in therapy for.
Yeah.
I got to love all the things I'm ashamed of.
Yeah.
That's the work, by the way. Everybody tuning in, like, bring to mind all the reasons you're in therapy, or you were on drugs, or the marriage didn't work, or the things you loathe about yourself. Okay. So the invitation is not to just accept those things, but could you actively love those things as
Mm.
is? Don't try and change. This has been the work I've been really focusing on the last year or two. Like I would say my thing, since you're a therapist, you can therapize me now. I really feel like I was just having this great conversation. You met my partner, Will,
Mhm.
with Will the other night about my shadow.
Mhm.
And like, am I resisting seeing my shadow? We all, of course, I am. We all do. But, just like, babe, what do you think's in there? What do you think's in the basement? And I think what's in my basement is some like evil, gnarly,
Right.
witchy, domineering, tyrannical, and I need to get her in order. And Will just said, because he is love, he just said, doubt, doubt.
Mm.
I was like, oh, that's it. I'm so hard on myself.
Yeah.
I think like my gnarly side is evil. And it's like, no, my gnarly side just thinks she's a drop and not the ocean.
Right.
That's the stinking thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you so
Mm.
that's the thinking piece. What does the action of knowing that you are the ocean, not the drop, look like in life, in the day to day, you think?
Oh, um, this phrase has really helped me. Might be a bit poetic for some people. We can come up with something else, but I just say, I am vast. That's as simple as I can get it down.
Mm.
That's like my
Vast,
essential
yeah.
oil of it. I am vast. Or sometimes I'll say, my heart is as vast as the sky. This metaphor of ocean and sky,
Mhm.
really, really powerful for shaking the mind
Right, right.
out of itself. And if I'm vast, if my heart, and this is all, every mystic somehow gets down to this, your true nature, your Buddha nature, your essential self, your original self,
Mhm.
your Christ consciousness, your heart, just consider that it's as vast as the sky. You is that big. And if you are that big, and you can even just breathe into that visual for a second, a lot of stuff does not matter. Like, and this really works in relationship. Like the short story I've told a couple times is Will and I were in a bit of a tangle.
Mhm.
And we're not the kind, we don't actually take space. We don't, if we're in the tangle, we just grind through it and we'll get to the other side. We're really good at restoring.
Yeah.
But it just so happened this day we were in this knot, and we did have things scheduled, and he had to go do his day. I had to go do mine. And we were going to end up meeting for sushi at like 5 o'clock. And I was going for a walk, and I'm going through my list of all the things that all the relationship books have told me I should be paying attention to. And this for me is the nuance, John, therapist, is like my ego will grab onto all the therapeutic how to's
Mhm. Mhm.
and use it almost as like this beating stick. Like,
Mm.
my inner child felt this way when you did that, and you didn't, we need to do the check-in, and is there more, and how do you feel, and all this stuff. And so I'm walking by the ocean, and I'm going through the list of all the things, how I got to get it better, he's got to get it better, and I'm coming up with my script for meeting at sushi. I'm going to walk in with this list on
Yeah.
behalf of love. It's
Mhm.
just such bullshit. And I just took my own medicine. I was like, I'm vast. I'm this guy. I am this guy. What if it's true that my heart is this spacious? And then the list I could actually just kind of see it evaporate. The list
Mm.
became redonkulous. And then I just got back to like, I got room for that tussle we had this morning. I got room for his inner child ridiculousness and my controlling ridiculous. I got room for all that. And because I have room for that, I have room for really unconditional love
Yeah.
and patience and this great vision of the future. And, the end of that story is I just walk into the restaurant and I just like, hey, babe, that was it.
You're saying something that is very important, I think, also telling of the times, which is because therapy, tools, wellness has become commercialized, and it's formed a crust. And so there's
Mm,
now a lot of people who are walking and waving with prescriptions, right? And so they're trying to check a list, they're trying to use tools, they're trying to stick up for themselves and all of that, which is coming from a good place. But I think sometimes we can get lost and then use tools as weapons or shields to hide behind. And what you did was you just simplified, you went higher. And I love that what came out was just, hey, babe. Because it wasn't the
yeah.
words, it was what's underneath, and the way that you
Yeah.
showed up is the like you said, ocean vastness, um, higher
And all
frequency,
that expansiveness,
expansiveness. Yeah,
expansion was one of your words in the love back and forth,
yeah,
is that's the aim. I mean, you've also used an important word, which is, you said, I went higher.
mm-hmm.
That's it. It
Yeah,
is higher is another, um, it's more than a spiritual metaphor. It's like a spiritual reality. Like, I learned in my most challenging times, like, all my spiritual teachers used to say, offer it up, Danielle, offer it up, offer it
mm-hmm.
upward.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get it. Like it was still this intellectual concept for me. I was like, or they would say, it's not even yours. I'm like, what do you mean? And I got it. I got it in this really crunchy, painful time where the short version of the story is like shaman, psychotherapist, New Mexico. I'm in this river, kind of baptizing myself. I'm in agony because the psychotherapy isn't working. And the
Mm-hmm.
medicine man cannot take my pain away. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the bind. And the guy I was into at the time, he just was out of it. And I just like, I realized in that moment, I'm in the river, and I like, where can I put my pain? Who going to take it for me? Nobody's going to take it for me. Nobody's going to, no other human's going to accommodate that. Like, we're going to take parts of it for each other.
Yeah.
Um, but we're not mergy enough that someone else is going to take on our pain. I mean, this could get in, we can end the whole discussion, like gurus do take on other people's suffering. But I realized in that moment that I felt unworthy
Mm-hmm.
of offering my pain up to something higher than me. I actually felt like I was a burden to life,
Mm.
God. And I got over it in that moment. Just like, you got to take this or I'm going to crack. And it was a beautiful experience. I was just like, all right, mother, take my pain. And the revelation was like, the mother wants our pain, just like we want our children's pain. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
with your child. Um,
So you're letting
I'm
go.
not saying her name because I don't know if you say your kid's name in public, but
Oh,
um,
Logan. Yeah, she's all hail
Logan,
is Logan.
with Logan, wouldn't you just like take it all from her if you
Sure.
could?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
The letting go, there's a release in that. Also, when you think of it that way, you use the word mother. Um,
Mm.
there's there's a belief that there is something greater. There's a belief that it's not just you. There's a belief that you're taken care of. There's all these
Yeah.
other things that come from that, um, giving to mother, to releasing, to letting go, which is a great segue into the final piece of this, which is healing and forgiveness, right? And in the
Mm.
email, you talk about what are the conditions of healing and forgiveness. Real quick though, off topic, Danielle recently gave me one of the best compliments I've gotten in a long time via email.
Mm.
And she said, I love how assistant free and unorganized this process is. She's talking to me getting her on the podcast and emailing. It's efficient and liberating. Can I assume I don't have to sign an NDA and commit to promoting this episode with 30 dedicated emails? I love it. You know what's funny is like, and that's why let's just I do have an assistant, but let's just I've talked to, here, let's just shoot the shit. What do you want to
I
talk about? When do you
love
want to
it.
come on? And it's
It's
gotten to
when,
the
do you
point where
want to
it's
be
like,
on? so easy.
I know,
Uh,
but it's gotten to the point where, yeah, it goes through different people and then Google Calendars.
mhm.
And then here's the thing that you have to do if you're on my show. It's like, oh, can't we just hang out and pretend? Can't we just talk like no one's listening?
Well, it's two things. Can't we just talk like no one's listening and be a grown up?
Mm,
Like, if you
yeah,
want to be on my show,
yeah,
this is the time. Here's the link.
yeah,
Figure it out.
yeah.
Like, it's pretty easy. I put a little flag next to the email from John. We're here. It's great.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah.
guests and I've been in experiences where yeah, there's 50 different back and forths and calendars and assistants, and it just gets a little cluttered. But anyway, yeah, thank you for that return, by the way. So, conditions for healing and forgiveness as we kind of both hold hands and slide toward home
Yeah.
base. What are they?
Um, what are they? Well, listen, I want to put a request in since you're in
Yes.
the psychology space. I would love it if when everybody engaged in therapy at the beginning of the therapeutic process with your shrink, your counselor, whoever, the therapist might say something like this: we are going to get you healed. We're aiming for healing.
Hmm.
I'm going to witness you. I'm your like, this is one of the most powerful things one of my many psychotherapists said to me was like, Danielle, I am your champion. I was just like,
Mm.
what? You're on my side? You're not trying to fix me? You're rooting
Right.
for me? Oh my
Or make
God.
money off
That
me?
was,
Yeah.
oh, that was medicine. So,
Mm.
like, you're going to be all that. You're rooting for the client, the patient. And then could you sprinkle in? And then if all goes well, maybe we can get to some forgiveness.
Mm.
Because I think that is left out of the conversation.
Yeah.
I think when my experience of therapeutic process, like, you get far enough into it, and then you kind of got to go do the forgiving on your own.
Mm.
And there's this really critical juncture where you can keep having this kind of psyche wank, but like, you keep going back to be witness and going back to talk about your story again, like
Mhm.
one more round recapitulating the trauma. Enough already. And I think, a great therapist wants to get themselves fired, or retired. Um, but there could be this, I feel like there's this, then we could do this metaphysical lap
Mhm.
where we really move into, all right, you've been seen. We know the impacts of the pain. Can we move into forgiving?
Let me ask you
Yeah.
this. I love that, by the way. What does forgiveness look like for you?
Relief. It's one of those things. Forgiving is like orgasm. No one, you
Mm.
go, everybody can tell you what it is before you get there. And you don't know. You don't know what falling in love is until you fall. All the things, motherhood,
Right.
all the things, all the
Right.
things. You don't really know what forgiving is until you do it. And my experience is, and I'm really, I want to write more about it. I got to interview more people. I'll ask you right now. Um, John, the times when you have, okay, it's a two-part question. The times when you have forgiven someone else, like
Hmm.
really actively, like you are you are off the hook, bless.
Yeah.
And or the times when you have been forgiven,
Hmm.
what's it feel like? What's the experience?
Yeah. Euphoria, release,
Yes.
orgasmic, you said.
Yeah.
Lighter. Again, going back to the word expansion, I think when you are holding grudges, resentment, you're constricting, you can feel it in your shoulders. When you forgive, there is air, there is breath, there is expansiveness, vastness, there is ocean. You're no longer a drop. Um, by the way, I'm supposed to go motorcycle riding with Will one day. And when I think about forgiveness, I think about, I got to turn this camera for a second, but I think about me on this Harley. And
Ah.
when there's a moment when you're riding where you forget you're on a bike, it's almost like you and the bike become one. And maybe a lot of people feel that way when they're dancing, or if you're doing improv, you kind of lose sense of self. And I think that's forgiveness. I think in when you are forgiving, you are forgiving. You're forgetting ego. You are being. you are going back to this idea of living higher. Easier
Euphoria.
said than done. It's hard to do.
Wait, easier said than done, but that's what's waiting for everybody. But here's the
Mm,
thing. The hot words in there are euphoria. It
hmm.
is this natural high, which is what everybody is craving, seeking
Sure.
in both an unhealthy and healthy way.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the word, and you mentioned that expanded state again, the ocean. That euphoria is our natural state. Like
Oh,
this is the
that's interesting. I like
this
that.
is a pattern I see with people where I see this a lot with people in our heart centered membership where there's this question. They say, I forgave. We had this really loving moment. I was in joy. I felt some bliss. And then I came back to reality. I'm like, no, 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 no. All that other stuff, the high is the true reality. But
Hmm.
we mostly live in the unreality,
Hmm.
back to like, the accounting and the metrics and why you shouldn't forgive and all these things. But I just want to say to everybody, if you felt the forgiveness, that was legit. If you had those moments of healing, those for real. And we want to get back to that. So all that to say, bring it full circle. Forgiving is our natural impulse, kind of demeans it in a way. It's it's the way.
So if this was a movie, this is the end of The Sixth Sense, where you realize Bruce Willis was alive the entire time. What you
Yeah.
just said, that euphoria, the feeling you get from forgiveness, is our natural state, is that twist. Because I think for most people, their natural state, they think, is fight or flight, panic, sky is falling.
Yes.
It's the stuff that we've gone through, traumatic in our stories, that gets us to run away from that euphoria. It just becomes further and further away. But that being our natural state, that being the homeostasis,
Yes.
um, it's eye opening, because I think about, wow, can you imagine if everyone lived there? And then dipping into lower frequencies is not natural. That's, life turbulence. But our natural, we then default back to euphoria and expansiveness and love. It would be a different world.
Yes.
I mean, it's there. It's just how do we get there, and can we stay there?
I think getting there. So the different world is the new earth that,
Mm.
some
Eckhart
great
Tolle, that book.
Eckhart is
Yeah,
talking about,
yeah.
and the beautiful world our hearts know is possible, and Charles Eisenstein's beautiful phrase. Um, I think we get there by one, just play, just play with the
Mm.
concept that it's your natural state.
Yeah,
Just consider that idea
yeah. And what that would look
that
like,
homeostasis
right?
is love and joy.
Expansiveness, joy,
Yeah.
forgiveness, compassion. All of these big, big words.
And then you just use that concept to, like smelling salts in the middle of the argument, kind of
Mm-hmm.
wake you up a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. And then eventually it moves from concept to like you actually embody it.
Yeah.
Like with all virtues, by the way, love is a virtue.
Mm-hmm.
Let people try on the different virtues, let them virtue signal. And then it moves from concept into, oh, I am generosity itself. I am love itself. I am forgiveness itself. It's a tall order, but it's what we're here for.
You are one person, of very few that I know, where when I think about you, and I know we're just kind of getting to know each other, um, you're actually an experience, right? So you have beautiful words. You're kind of like who's the one of my favorite bands, Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks. I saw her at the Rose Bowl, and she came out in this flowy dress, and
Spinning.
she was spinning and stuff, and I was like, she's like an experience. You just kind of take her in. So whether she's singing, dancing, doesn't matter, kind of who she is. And I find you as that way. I find you as kind of the Stevie Nicks of wellness. Um, But
I'm going to quote you on
not
that.
that's a great on the back of your next book. She is
Thank
the
you.
Stevie
Thank
Nicks
you. I'm
of
running with
wellness.
it.
Oh
It's
yeah, I love
confirmed.
it's
Okay.
accurate. You are and I get that through your content, your videos, your newsletters and all that. But when we had dinner, there was kind of this no speed bumps, very flowy, knowing. It was very honest and just like you coming from the page to real life seamlessly, and there was no fabrication, no performance. It was very just the experience of Danielle LaPorte. So if you are
Thank you.
listening, I don't know if you can also if you agree with me, but that's one of the I think it's one of your gifts. It's not just how well you write, but it's just how you show up. And so I applaud that. I was going to ask you, do you have that poem that you read when we had dinner? You don't have
I
it
might be
memorized.
able to. I hold on because we are in the land of laptops. I might
Yes.
be able to actually pull it up.
As she digs through this poem, which I was listening to it and I thought it was so beautiful, and especially the way it ended. Um, I visualized, oh, if I have her on my podcast, I'm gonna have her end with that. So I was thinking about that when she read it, and now there's a high chance I'm manifesting that, and it's going to be a reality based on how fast she can dig through her inbox
Hmm.
without an assistant.
Hmm. Okay. I'm in the realm.
It's worth the wait. If you have
It's
to
worth the
pee, go
wait.
pee. Grab a beverage.
uh, okay, because you're not going to edit out this. You're not going to edit
No,
out this
I don't
me
edit it. I don't,
searching.
Danielle. I don't edit anything. That's kind of the whole point of my stuff. I mean, unless if we sit here and look for an hour and a half, well, that'll probably be edited out.
Can I read you a different poem?
Yes.
Okay.
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 I just wanted to end with your words.
Some
I wanted to end
poetry.
with a poem.
My heart is so open, I can't tell if it is a gaping wound or a portal for everything that ever was and ever will be. I have learned to love the beautiful terror of eternity and the terror of scenario planning, how shattered I would become if all the dark things got taller than me and if I fell backwards in my forgetting of the light. But you can't fall backwards in space. You can only ever unfurl. And more than anything, I have wed the certainty that nothing changes without me. Nothing changes without me. Not coal becoming diamonds, not fertilizing eggs or migration patterns or medicine dreams. And what I thought was a net cast to me from a higher God is actually strands of truth and filaments of desire that I have strung together with my own hands. And in precious encounters, I tie what I know and want to what you know and want so that together we can ride the winds of wonder.
Mm. Friends, the Danielle Laporte experience. She uses words like, did you say medicine dreams?
Mm-hmm.
I use words like heart boner, and she uses words like medicine. She uses medicine dreams, and I use heart boner. Anyway, as we
They
end,
both work.
they both
Holy
work.
human.
Yeah. What's next for you? What are you up to? And people are going to be able to find you through the show notes. But
Yeah. Well,
what's
you
a
and Vanessa should come to Vancouver, and then
yes?
you and Will can do motorcycle
Dirt
guys, and
bikes.
Vanessa and I can go. Yeah. Um, what's next for me is super practical. I've just
Mm,
hit pause.
hmm.
So this is an unconventional answer. Like, there's lots of things I'm cooking up. Go buy my stuff. Come be part of my membership.
Yes.
DanielleLaPorte.com. It's way better to just subscribe to my stuff, and we don't have to get screwed over by the algorithm, all that. But I'll tell you, and the reason I'm telling you, because maybe somebody else needs to do this. I've just hit pause on a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of this cycle. I'm not even tired. It's not fitting to creativity anymore. I'm tired of
Mm.
make, launch, promote, 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 and then
Yeah.
cram the
Yeah.
making in.
I can relate to that.
And I've decided I just want to actually be, after all these years, I've been quietly trying to be an eccentric creative. And I've just
Mm.
recently said, fuck it. And told like my team, I'm an eccentric creative. Things gonna change around here in
Yeah.
the best way. So don't launch that. Pause that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not podcasting for this chunk of time. I'm not putting any posts up. Only going to put up like spontaneous whatever, and let me just go deep. So that's what's next. Like actually, it's so of the moment, because you're my only thing today that I had to have my hair done for. And for the next 3 weeks, starting in about 5 minutes, I am just getting out post-it notes and Evernotes and old
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I may just go lie on the beach and think about life. And I'm going to make the deepest, deepest ever. And then we cut the pie up and give it to the world.
Ooh, we cut the pie up and give it to the world. I hear a lot of you connecting back to self, which is,
Yeah.
it's the reboot. It's when we take our iPhones and restart that shit because a lot of the apps are glitchy. And what a refreshing thing to hear. I can relate to all of that as someone that, does the same stuff that you do.
Yeah.
Lots of having to post this, having to post that, having to sell seats, all of that. Yeah, just pausing and go create magic and see what ripples from that. Let's cut the
Mm-hmm.
pie pieces later. That's a refreshing message for anyone. And I think,
First the berries, then the pie. Yeah.
yes, yes. First the berries. That's a bumper sticker. First the berries, then the pie. Um, if that
Then the
resonates for
algorithm.
you, then
Yeah.
yeah. If that resonates with you, ask yourself what that looks like for Danielle that's sitting on the beach and um, being with her thoughts and words. What does that look like for you? How can you execute that? How can you put a little reboot in your life? It's going to equal realignment, repositioning. And I think it's much needed in this world. Danielle, thank you for your time. I know you're busy. And I can't wait to see the pie pieces you offer up when you come up and are ready to serve the world your pie. I don't know if that's a
Thank
good
you.
line.
Thank you. That's
Oh
it's a
God.
perfect
Oh yeah. Don't judge it.
finale to
Don't
all of
judge it.
this.
It's very mean. All right. All right, guys. Thank you, Danielle. Be well, and I will see you in Canada.
Love. Yes, love.
Gratitude. Thank you.